Hello. Today we're going to solve systems of equations by substitution. Last class you solved by graphing, which meant you had to graph each equation, which is fine if you love graphing and you have graph paper. But what if we don't and we just want a quick answer? So, besides using a calculator, because that would make it easy, we can solve a system by what we call substitution. It's a second method. You'll actually learn 3 by the time we're done. So with that, I want to solve this system by what we call substitution. Solving it by substitution is exactly how it sounds. What does it mean to substitute something? So let's say we're making a sandwich and we want ham. We want a ham sandwich. Mom doesn't have any ham. She only has turkey. So then we could substitute the ham with turkey and make a turkey sandwich. Substitution means you are replacing something. Holds true in math as well. We are going to replace one of the variables because we can't solve an equation with 2 variables in it. We don't know how to do that. But what we do know how to do is solve an equation with 1 variable. So I can replace the variable from one equation inside the other and solve. Sounds complicated, but not so bad. So let's see. So first, I want to solve by substitution. So with that first, I'm looking at these 2 equations. I have that y in both equations equals something. So I can take the y here and replace it for the y there and solve my equations. Well, what does that mean, Miss Singletary? This y equals 4x. So I can take the 4x and put it into my other equation for y because it tells me that y equals that. So I can have negative 4x equals, where's my pen? Sorry, equals x minus 35. This 4x was what y equaled down here. I just shoved it in its place, and now I can solve. Now I can solve for x, actually. So I can subtract x from both sides. 4x minus x is negative 5x equals negative 35. So now my x equals 7. Okay, that's fine if I want to know what x equals. And again, it's an ordered pair, 7. But I also need to know y. Great, I can come right back up to the equation and I can plug it in. Now, when I plug it in to find y, I used this equation to solve for x means I cannot use it to solve for y. So I wouldn't be able to use him, but I can use him. Y equals negative 4x. My x is 7. Y equals negative 4 times 7. My y is negative 28. Well, how do I know that I'm right, Miss Singletary? Because I don't want to get up and do it all and find out I'm wrong. I can take both of my equations and quickly put in my x and my y that I found to make sure they work. Has to work in both. So, my first equation, so negative 28 equals 7 minus 35. When I do the math, this is negative 28, so they match. Negative 28 equals negative 28. Put it into the second equation. Negative 28 equals negative 4 times 7. Well, negative 4 times 7 is negative 28. Voila, they both match, means my answer is 100% correct. So let me review that one more time before I move on to another example. I replaced the y in the first equation with what y equaled in the second equation. So it says here y equals negative 4x. I took the 4x and I replaced it inside that original equation and I solved for x. Then I took my answer for x, put it into this equation here because I didn't use it to solve for x, and found my y. If I put it into the top equation, you will get infinite solutions, so don't do that. Let's try again. All right, it says here, x equals 7y, and 3x minus y equals negative 40. Well, right away, I can take this x here, which is negative 7y, and replace it for this x here. I can just take them and plop them in. Why? Because x equals 7y. I can shove them into the equation and solve. So 3 times that x, which is 7y, minus y equals negative 40. Now I just need to do some math. 21y minus y equals negative 40. 20y equals negative 40. Divide by 20, y equals negative 2. That's my y. So in my solution, that's my y. All right, so now let me find x. Well, remember, I used this equation to find my y, so this equation's out. I have to use my other equation. So x equals 7 times my y. X equals negative 14. And because I'm a good math student, let's do a good quick check here. So negative 14 equals 7 times negative 2. Yes, that's true. I didn't even have to do the math. I just got to check it. In my head, I know 7 times negative 2 is negative 14. Then I can say, okay, 3 times my x minus my y, ooh, that's ugly, equals negative 40. So I need to do some math here. So 3 times negative 14, I'm not even attempt to get that one wrong, is negative 42. Now minus a negative 2 becomes a plus 2, so I have negative 40, and that's what I wanted. Woohoo, they both match. My answer is correct. Or you could at that point graph it and see if it's the point of intersection. Either way works. And let's look at one more example before we let you try some on your own. So in our last example here, let's look at one more example. So, this one here does not have any type of replacement anything. So right here, I don't have anything that can go back into something else. That's not cool. So let's see. I'm going to have to solve, I don't know if you can see yellow. Let's pick a different color. Let's go back to the green. This equation, I want to solve for what we call a singlet. When we call a singlet, I could solve for anything. But this is just a plain old y, plain old x, and a plain old y. If I just solve for a 1x or a 1y, and it does not matter who you choose, then I can plug them into the other equation. So my second one seems pretty easy to solve for either. So do we want to solve for x or y? You're right, makes no difference to me either. Let's just solve for x. So to solve this equation here, so I have x plus y equals negative 4. If I'm going to solve for x, I have to get rid of my y. So x equals negative y minus 4. So that's the equation I'm going to use for my substitution into that equation. Right? I said to solve for a variable substitute. So now, 3. Now this is my x. He's a little complicated. Negative y minus 4. Because remember, it's 3x. Plus y equals negative 16. Now I need to distribute. Combine my like terms. Add my 12 to both sides. Divide by negative 2. My y is 2. Not hard, just long. Just long. Sometimes in math we have long. So my y is 2. Now I want to go ahead and I have to put it into, remember, my second equation when I go to solve for the next one. So x plus this y we found already equals negative 4. Bring the 2 over. X is negative 6. And finally, let's just do a quick check. I like to do a quick check. So 3 times negative 6 plus 2 equals negative 16. Negative 18 plus 2, yep, got it, negative 16. Negative 6 plus 2 equals -4. -4 equals -4. Yep, got it. My answer is correct. So remember, when you're solving a system by substitution, one of the equations has to be a y equals or an x equals, and that's a 1y or a 1x. Then you're going to substitute or submerge it into the other equation so that you only have one variable. Solve the equation. Then go back using the equation you did not use and substitute your answer in so that now I can find the other variable. And always good practice to check our work. Takes a little more time to do by substitution. He's my longest method. But there's going to be times you have to use substitution over something else. He's my longer method. It'll take a little bit of time. Have an awesome day. Talk to you soon.